guys, it's Hannah, and today I'm going to give you 6 steps to help build a writing habit that works for you. If you are anything like me, you kind of go on and off with your writing habit. You do really good during NaNoWriMo, because NaNoWriMo. And then the rest of the year, it's really like a hit or miss as to if you actually write or not. So I'm here to help you through that and say, do you know what? You can develop a writing habit, and you can develop one that actually works for you. Because as much as we love NaNoWriMo, the amount of words we put out every day in NaNoWriMo isn't always realistic to our regular day-to-day life. So let's dive in. My first step is find a habit development process that works for you. I personally use a process called the KFC method, which if you want to use it, then great, go grab some KFC and we'll go over this together. So the KFC method is K, know what you want. F, find out what you're getting. C, change your methods until you get the result you want. And I really like this because it allows you to focus on the actual goal rather than the method to getting to the goal. It allows you to change your method so that you actually reach your goal. So for example, in regards to creating my current writing habit, I knew that I wanted to have a more consistent writing process. I didn't like that I would go months without writing and then try to jump back in, and it was a pain to jump back in because I felt like I was a horrible writer. So I knew that I wanted to develop something more consistent, and I found out that I wasn't getting that result because I was setting benchmarks way too high and I wasn't creating any sort of accountability for myself. So I went through kind of, just thought about, different times when I was more consistent versus when I wasn't, and thought kind of more of my day-to-day life and created the system that I currently have, which seems to be working pretty well. And that is that I write 20 minutes a day with Sunday as my rest day. And I keep accountable by recording vlogs of me writing. And so far, that is giving me the results that I want. Could that change a little bit in the future? Definitely, but I at least have the flexibility to change it so that I don't feel guilty about just like dropping off the face of the earth, basically. I can modify it so that I don't drop off my writing habit. So that's my first step. The second step is to set benchmarks that you can achieve in your day-to-day life. Like I said, not every month is NaNoWriMo. Not every month we can say I am putting off everything to write, 1,500 words a day to write a novel in a month. That's just not realistic for a lot of us. A lot of us, have full-time jobs, and you might have kids or you might have pets that you got to take care of, and it's just, as much as I love NaNoWriMo and I think it's a great tool, it is not always realistic. So make sure that when you're setting your benchmark, it's not setting that unrealistic, like, if I just had all the time in the world, this is what I would write kind of a thing. I set a benchmark that you can achieve in your day-to-day life. So for me, where I'm struggling with some health issues right now, and while I'm still working, I decided 20 minutes was very achievable for me. So that even on days when like my anxiety and depression are sky high, the 20 minutes still allows me to push myself without feeling like I'm going overboard or I'm going to push myself too far. So that's my second step, is to set a benchmark that will work for your day-to-day life. My third step is protect your writing time by setting boundaries. And I have a couple of things underneath this. So I think one thing that is really, really important, honestly, is to set a specific day of the week to be your rest day. Now, I want you to understand this is not like a diet cheat day. That's not what this is. A rest day is a day that will allow you to focus on other things and taking care of yourself and your social life and your home and stuff, and an opportunity to go out and experience life, so that when you come back, your brain is refreshed and renewed, has had, you know, a rest, and it can jump back into projects more easily. And I find that it honestly makes my creativity a lot more productive. Just because I do give myself that day where I'm not focusing on actually writing, I'm just being in the moment, being in the present, and that actually helps me bring just little snippets of dialogue and little things that I've seen throughout that day into my writing for the rest of the week. The next thing in setting boundaries is preparing your physical space. Make sure that your space is set up for your writing. Now for me, I tend to like to move around. I don't always like writing in the same spot, even when my desk is all set up, which is such a mess right now. It's not. I like to move around. I like to go to different places. So I usually spend maybe up to 5 minutes just preparing my writing space before my 20 minutes. Whether that's just cleaning up or setting out a blanket because I'm out on the balcony. I like to take just 3 to 5 minutes to set up my area to kind of mentally prepare me to get into writing. Next part of that is you need to set a writing goal right after your sessions. And let me explain why. So it's always good to have little like mini goals to work towards so that you stay motivated to write every day. But don't set them the day that you want to achieve them, set them the day before. So if you watch my vlogs, you'll see that a lot of times at the end of them, I'm kind of musing about kind of what I want to work on the next day. And what that does is that because the story is still so fresh in my mind from writing it, it allows me to say, okay, I see where I'm at now, this is where I want to go, and then I get to spend the next, 12 to 24 hours pondering on how I want to achieve that goal, so that when I go to write the next day, I already have ideas and I can just jump right in. So I find that setting a goal at the end of your writing sessions rather than at the beginning or just at random times really helps me prepare to jump back in. And then my last thing in protecting your boundaries is stick to your benchmark, especially for like those first 2 to 3 weeks. And I have a little metaphor for you, okay? When you go camping, you don't want to burn all your firewood for the campfire first thing, right? You want to save some firewood off to the side so that the campfire stays burning throughout the night. And it's the same thing with establishing a writing habit. You don't want to, let's say that you use the 20 minutes like I say. You don't want to hit that 20-minute mark those first couple of weeks and be like, oh, that was super easy, like I could easily write for like another half hour or hour or whatever. Because what's going to happen is that you're going to burn up all of your ideas basically, and then you're going to hit a wall where you're no longer motivated because you got stuck and you used up all your ideas too quickly. And this does kind of tie to the last one of you want to have ideas in mind so that you can jump back in. So don't, especially those first like 2 to 3 weeks, do not go over your benchmark. Now, if you go, a month or two and you're like, okay, this is like always way too easy, then yeah, up your benchmark and push yourself. That's really important that you do push yourself so that you feel a sense of accomplishment. And that's where the KFC method comes in, where you can modify it to create that habit that works for you. But especially those first 3 weeks before that burnout point that that's going to come, stick to the benchmark. And it really makes things so much easier. My fourth step is to have a file of for fun projects, basically. For those days that you start feeling your feet drag. You're not quite to the burnout point yet, but you can feel that it's probably coming. I would suggest having a file or a list or something of different writing prompts and writing exercises, or just projects that you're doing off to the side for fun, to work on for one day. Only give yourself one day to work on it, but to help kind of pick your feet back up and get going. So for example, this last week, I was starting to feel my feet drag because I felt like my sentences were getting too repetitive. And so what I decided to do was that I decided to emulate my friend's prologue to one of her books and study her sentence structure and how that sentence structure told the story. And it was really useful, and I was able to jump in the next day and start formulating my sentences a little differently so that they didn't feel so rigid and stiff. So those little for fun projects can really help jumpstart your creativity when you're starting to feel like you might burn out, so that you don't burn out. My fifth step is to be accountable to yourself and come up with a way to document your progress. I think this is a really important step, that you are accountable to you rather than someone else, because as soon as you're accountable to someone else, then you're writing for someone else, not for you, which is dumb. Okay, that's dumb. Write for you first. Then once you start editing, then you start writing as a reader, not as a writer. But that's a whole different thing. Write for you, so come up with an accountability method that's going to work to keep yourself accountable. For me, that has apparently been yelling it out into the void on the internet via YouTube. And hopefully you enjoy my blog videos. But that is how I decided to keep myself accountable. It's a nice way to say, like, yes, I did it. And to, especially with editing the videos, it gives me time to reflect about my writing process and if it's working or if it's not working, and what I learned from my little writing sessions. And then I thought it would be really cool to have a series of videos to document my process of developing my writing habit. So yeah, coming up with a way to be accountable for yourself, whether that's through bullet journaling, whether that's a daily vlog or blog, that is very important. And my last step, step 6, is to reward yourself. Give yourself rewards for reaching your goals. Like, for example, today is technically 2 full weeks of writing consistently. But I knew that I wouldn't have time tonight, so last night I went and treated myself to my favorite pizza place for writing consistently for 2 weeks and sticking to my goal of 20 minutes. And I have goals coming up at like the month mark, the 3-month mark, the 6-month mark. Like, I got things planned out. And that's making me excited. It's making me want to continue because I want to get these things. So yeah, that's the 6th step, is to reward yourself. Praise yourself for doing a good job. And the thing is that when you praise yourself for doing a good job, you are much more likely to continue with it. I read a statistic somewhere that basically says that thanking someone for doing something initiates 100 seconds of them initiating that habit again themselves. So do that for yourself. Tell yourself, like, hey, like, good job. Because that will help motivate you to continue on your habit. So yeah, I hope this video has helped you. Feel free to, drop comments below on other things that have helped you develop a writing habit. And yeah, like I said, just write. That's really what it comes down to, is just write and be present in it. And I don't care what your benchmark is, if it's 20 minutes, if it's an hour and a half, if it's just writing for the 5 minutes that my music is on during my accountability vlogs. Look, you're writing, and that is what matters. Okay? So yeah, at the end of the day, sit down, write, and be present in it, and that's going to help you develop a habit more than anything. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe to see more videos like this. And I can't wait to chat with you in the comments, and I will see you guys soon, okay? Bye!